They are educators. And this is Susan Lovelace and Louise Kennedy, thank you, and Carrie Adams. Ladies, here you are.
Hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for coming today. We're so excited. We've had a sneak preview of these cowboy poets, and they worked with our teens yesterday, and you're in for a real treat. The Teen Writers workshops have a fellowship they give to students who have attended 3 workshops and submitted a piece of writing that was inspired by one of those workshops. And they are awarded what's called the Teen Fellow Award for Laura Riding Jackson. And today we have 4 students who are here with us. Some of them are Ms. Carrie Adams, students at Vero Beach, and some are Louise Kennedy at St. Ed's. So I'm going to let them. When your name is called, if you could just come forward, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just a quick note, we had 8 teenagers qualify for a Teen Writing Fellowship, and there's many more teens that we have who are partially there. So this is a really great program. It's a great thing that students can put on their resumes as they're heading off into the world. It encourages them to write. So I just want to say, although only a few of them could join us here today due to scheduling, we are really looking forward to recognizing all of our teen fellows. So first, I would love it if Annika Huberger could come up here and receive this award. Annika is a junior at Vero Beach High School, also a reading mentor for elementary age students. She's wonderful. I would also like to recognize Wilson Murphy. If you come up here, Wilson. Wilson is a sophomore at Vero Beach High School and a wonderful, beautiful soul. Just to make sure, my Anna Byrne-Holtz. Is she here? I thought she was going to be here. We're going to love Anna anyway, even though she's not here.
And I get to recognize an amazing young woman from St. Edward's School who gives of herself all the time to this community, and that is Sandy Kelso. Very proud of her work. She's a senior, so she's leaving me now, which is very, very upsetting.
Thank you all.
James, I don't know where you disappeared to, but as he told you already what you're in store for from the Porch Poets and the Tuesday Writers, you're going to get to hear their original works in just a moment. As is tradition, we will invoke the spirit of Laura by reading one of her poems to get us started today. The title of this poem is The Way It Is. It falls to an idiot to talk wisely. It falls to a sop to wear beauty. It falls to many to be blessed in their shortcomings. As to the common brute, it falls to see real miracles and to howl with irksome joy. Many are the confusions that fall. Many are the inspired ones. Much there is indeed contrary. Much there is indeed wonderful. A most improbable one it takes to tell what is so. And the strangest creature of all, to be natural. Laura Riding Jackson.
All right, at this time I would like to invite the Porch Poets. Come on up here. So what we're going to do here is, Diane here, who kind of facilitates our group, just suggested that I tell you why we're called the Porch Poets. As many of you know, Laura Riding Jackson, there's the historic house that's about to be moved, which you can play a part in that, and I will tell you more about that, but there's a table back here, and you can contribute to the moving of the Laura Riding Jackson house. I think it's $5 a foot, and there's some different prizes you can get as a result of that. But we are moving to the Indian River State College, and it's going to be a showpiece there because it really is a piece of history. And so the reason we call ourselves the Porch Poets is because we meet at least every other time on the porch of the Laura Riding Jackson Historic House. So we can write, we can read, we can critique each other, and kind of essentially help each other become better poets. And so therein is the reason we call ourselves the Porch Poets. So what I'm going to do, my colleagues here, is actually let each one come up. They're going to give you their name, give you a little bit about their poem, and they're going to present their work to you. So if you would pay close attention, it takes a lot of daring, as you might suspect, to get up here and read, because of course when you read your poetry, you're reading something of your own blood. So if you would, welcome the Porch Poets.
Thank you, James. That was a great introduction. How wonderful to see so many people here to talk about poetry and barbecue. This is awesome. My name is Pat Draper. In another life, people have seen me around the hospital for way too long. But I've had the pleasure and honor of being a porch poet for a year now. I came to the barbecue last year and something hooked. And I joined the group, and it's just a wonderful venue to really get your creative juices flowing. So considering that the theme this year is cowboy poetry, I wrote something for the occasion. So if you will, open up your ears and let's hear how the West was won. Consider the fallen at Wounded Knee, and remember how the West was won. By covered wagon, they crossed the plains in search of a homestead, a son, to set on land they'd call their own, with dreams no one could take. Pioneers, believing their God-given right to 160 acres. Make no mistake, they had no quarrel with the Indians as long as they minded their own. But whose land did it belong to in the first place? It wasn't ours, it was theirs. It was their home. The Indian Removal Act, Trail of Tears, 7th Cavalry at Custer's last stand. Reread your history, but analyze who wrote it. Perspective is everything, my friend. Perhaps the savages should be defined not by color of skin, but the ends that justify the means of tyranny towards First Nations people despite amends. So watch Hollywood spaghetti westerns and enjoy the cowboy poetry you'll hear. The West was won by all kinds of Americans through their blood, their sweat, and their tears.
afternoon. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. I'm Diane Conway, currently the coordinator of this wonderful group I've been so happy to find. I like to say I've been writing poetry for a long, long time, but I only came out recently. So in the spirit of nature, which is a theme for this afternoon, I'm going to share a poem out of my childhood. In 1951, my parents purchased a lot and built a brick ranch house across the street from a state forest in Massapequa, Long Island. And that forest became, of course, a big part of my childhood. This poem is dedicated to those woods. It's called Sap in My Veins. The woods beckoned kids, enfolding us in its breathing cathedral, daring us deeper into its jungle mind. We galloped and neighed on root-rutted trails blazed by Native Americans. They called to us in the wind. Buzzing cicadas, incense of pine, snakes slithering our ankles in freezing streams, a twig snap at dusk, a red eye in a bush, knowing oaks whispering to each other, to us, whittled our wits like arrowheads on the ground. Hidden in the underbrush, we found feral kittens, eyes glued with gunk. We each took one home. Mine was pregnant before fully grown, which was upsetting to my mother, expecting my brother. Scratched and bleeding, with soil and sap in our nails, our hair, we built forts of birch bark and maple boughs, only to find them razed the next day by some other marauding tribe. We tracked those foes through ferns sprouting from termite-ravaged trunks, sunken swamp with skunk cabbage, shivering knee-deep in death, decay, new life. We never found them. But we had sensed a deeper mystery. My heart beats to the throb of that forest, sap of maples, melody of streams, metal of oaks flow through my veins, my birch bark fingers onto this page.
Hi, my name is Barbara DeVoe. I've been writing for a while. It helped bring me out of a deep depression, and that's been my salvation. A little while ago, the Porch Poets hosted an event where we wrote poems about paintings. And while that was going on, I was listening to a book of short stories about paintings of Edward Hopper. And since it was an audible book, I didn't have the physical book, so I couldn't match the paintings and the stories. So I went online and kind of figured out which ones went where. And in the meantime, I found another one called House by the Railroad Tracks that kind of inspired me. So that's where Train Time comes from. It's a prose poem. Train time. 5:30 a.m., first train of the day. The whistle blows, the tracks rumble, the ground shudders. I wake. The train, more reliable than my alarm clock, starts my day, or it used to. How many years since, I can't remember, and it doesn't matter. I am old, and the past is a long time ago, or yesterday. It doesn't matter. Gone is gone. 9 a.m., train number 2. It stalled one day. A cow had died and lay across the tracks. Jacob, my oldest brother, probably had something to do with that. He wanted to escape the farm and hopped the train to do it. It was a long distance between stops, and that made for a good plan. But in 1932, there wasn't any place to escape to. When the county sheriff found out, he was plenty mad, but by then, gone is gone, and he did not return. 11:47 a.m., train number 3. When it was running, beef was big, and the Chicago stockyards were kept full of Midwest beef. I knew those cows were crying out. The train noise was louder than their distress. When those farms died out, the train stopped, the first to go. 2:15 p.m., train 4. This was the odd one, sometimes going east, sometimes west, never the same. A mix of cars, usually empty except for the tramps relocating themselves from camp to camp. Tramps had short lives, frequent fights over cheap whiskey, scant hoards of food, smoking anything that could be rolled up. All it added up to was a fast ride to hell. You do the math. I always felt sorry for them, though. The war had changed so many, breaking bodies and minds, destroying their lives, leaving no future worth living. No jobs, and the Depression didn't help so much. Too much taken away, just gone. 7:53 p.m. This was only on weekends, a real passenger train. Dinner car and sleeper car. Businessmen traveled between work and home. You could see them dressed in their fancy suits, smoking fat cigars on the platforms of each end of a car. There was enough smoke without adding stinky cigars, or so I heard. Sometimes a dressed-up lady, fancy, made me think, made me dream. 9:10 p.m. Cars filled with sand, iron ore, stones, and more tramps. You could see them easy when the moon was full, legs hanging out the open doors of empty boxcars. Who wanted dirt? Where did it all go? What was it used for? I didn't care, so didn't ever ask. I had other things on my mind, important things, I thought back then. Midnight, last train for the day. Always a short one, going slow. Even under a bright moon, I never knew what it carried. Someone said something about the military, or prisoners going to the state lockup for safekeeping. Maybe just inspecting the tracks. Maybe that's what the bright light was for. Lots of rumors, no facts. I miss the trains, even after so many years. I still hear them in my sleep. They keep me company, but gone is gone. I never rode a train.
I'm Patience Killen, and I would call myself an intermittent poet. I've always loved poetry. I don't write it consistently. But this one was inspired. I was musing about the human need for significance and how the social media feeds into that, and that it provides a sense of intimacy which may not be built on the strongest foundation. The title of my poem is Unfetter the Myth. Romance me with your cliched, manufactured remarks. Let them drip by droplet, cold hope of your heart to frosting. Tackle tangled, taut tendrils of chronic skepticism. Wrench doubts with the gusto of a snap pea exploding. Scoop disappointment as easily as gelato. Wrap me seamless in your well-worn scripts that plagiarize affection better than a bungee jump rebound. Hold me, intractable as hair in a neglected shower drain. Chase me in the scintillant armor of Versace, sharp as a razor cut, defiant, dangerous, lethal to prolonged touch. Coagulate bedsheets spun from passion and knotted by delight. Pounce, pursue little black Sambo's pool of ghee. Cater me preternatural love fixings, sweetness of sighs, bouillabaisse of scrumptious moans, serve skins merging soft as mashed potatoes, cradle bottomless bowls of severed soul food, sweat squinting tart tears crisp as Granny Smith bites. Don't say a word. Don't kiss me goodbye. I might believe I mattered.
Hi everyone, my name is Skipwith Cole, otherwise known as Skip or Skippy or Skipperdoodle. And I've moved down recently with my husband, who's over there from New York, and we've been so thrilled to be part of this community. The poem I'm going to read is called Back to Musconda, and it's a poem about an experience that my husband David and I had in the South African bush. Back to Musconda. A beaming beingness, the Musconda. That Zulu music of movers about. It was just beginning as we rode from the long, laden tables and fire pits. The guitars, iskinchi, a flurry of thumbs and index fingers, the mysterious tuning, and a concertina, inkostinka, its bright sounds jumping with djembe drum beats and Abu Babayo arrangements, the backing vocalists with their secrets, their soulfulness, the legato, the sharp notes, a sound so infectious we crave to hop out and dance. The thrilling riffs fade as we move away, move deeper into the bush, 3 tiers of us in the open-air Jeep, searching for leopards, for lions. We weave through the buffalo thorn, the bush willow, the jackalberry, and over the weeping boar beans. Their flowers are rich red in daylight. We push into the Evon mouth of night, strains of Musconda dimming to air. Deeper, deeper into the low veld of Pumalanga, where the Sabi River now holds its breath and the Sand River runs mute, and where we too must be still as corpses, silent as death, avoid becoming prey, where the leopard Chololo lived also, the one who stands alone, and the Zonga's tongues ripped out, their selfhood stolen. Like the impala here, suddenly just feet from us, its distress call, its neck broken, its broken body circled and drawn, the 7 lions tearing, tugging, twisting, unfazed by our spotlight, crunching and slurping and growling, the noises so primeval, so annihilative, they burrow our bone. And then the fluke. A fought-over hind leg goes rogue and flies towards our naked heads, our laps, end over end over end. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The lion's leaping for it as it strikes the side of the truck, and not us. Barely half an inch, half a second to seal a universe. That absurd, threadbare barrier between breath and no breath. We leave the pride to their feast, turn back to camp in the Stygian evening, back under the knobthorn and sausage trees, over the guinea grass, the curly leaf, and the firelight grows nearer, and we begin to smell the smoking meats, hear the chords of the concertina again, the rhythm of drums again, 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 the bluesy voices and spoken word izzy bongo, the tale telling, the staccato of strings, shepherding us back to Musconda, here and alive, back to ourselves and our stories, alive, a fresh, fierce savoring of this right here, sweet sphere of the living. Thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Michael. I've been writing for quite a while, but I'm not sure I've come out yet. So these events certainly help. I know this is all about cowboys, but I thought I'd swim upstream and read something about Indians. And several years ago, I had this very powerful dream. I was an Indian, a Native American, if you will, on horseback with other warriors in this band of Indians somewhere out on the southern plains. I have no idea what triggered this dream, but when I woke up, I had this overpowering feeling of freedom. So I wrote about this dream, and I initially titled it Indian Dream. But then more recently, I read a book titled Empire of the Summer Moon, which some of the cowboy poets from Texas may be familiar with. But it's about the rise and demise of the Comanche Indian Nation on the southern plains of Texas and Oklahoma. And as I read through this book, the hair would stand up on the back of my neck because it was a bit of a revelation of this dream I'd had and really didn't know it. So a bit strange, but then I renamed the poem Comanche Dream. So this is Comanche Dream. Bareback on painted ponies, we cross the clear, cold stream. Ahead, the tall grass beckons, dark skies where we have been. We stop to water ponies and breathe the free, scented wind. Ahead, blue skies welcome, but they are dark where we have been. Loose stones beneath our ponies' hooves chant, farewell, O faithful friends. Clear waters cool our heated blood, turn dark now where we have been. Ahead, my brothers climb the bank, our ponies eager for the run. Behind us lies a long dark night, our land without our sun. Dust kicked up by eager hooves, the scent of sweet, rich earth. We breathed this 4,000 years, long before this dark new birth. We once rode to war, we rode to hunt, we rode for freedom's thrill. But a new spirit calls us now to the fading light beyond the hill. Bareback on painted ponies, we cross the clear, cold stream. Ahead, the tall grass beckons, forever dark where we have been. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Nichols. Wow, there's a lot of you. I'm a porch poet. These are my people. I love them so. Okay, I've been up here with a microphone before, but it was a wedding reception. I was 5 years old and I was singing Billy Ray Cyrus' Achy Breaky Heart. So I'm gonna pretend I'm not brave for you. This is a poem called Folly Pink. I wrote it, it's an ekphrastic poem. I wrote it for a painting done by Dr. Johnson Haygood, Sunrise Over Pink Flowers. And ekphrastic means you write what you feel when you see the artwork. So, and it's in our chapbook for sale. Okay, Folly Pink, here we go. On a balcony overlooking the river, sitting on a cast iron chair with chipped white paint, legs crossed, I smoke a cigarette, ashing into a clamshell. The party is full of strangers in the darkness. Their pretty faces glow by a strand of clear lights. The wind blows warm like vacation, smelling of seafood and whiskey. Seduced by lips and fingertips of freestyles, played on an acoustic and passed around for hours, a girl with sun-kissed cheeks hands me the guitar, asking me to play. Holding it in my arms, feeling for memory, looking down with a smile and laughing to myself, I slowly play the beginning of a song that quiets the noise. As the sun rises over the intercoastal, playing the chords loud for the fishermen on the docks. I sing, there is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. We are as lit as the sky, painted folly pink, now yelling together in our best bluesy voice. The morning walkers gape at the wildflowers and local drunks.
I'm just proud of you for doing the song again. Woo, man, that's good. That's real good. So I'm still debating which poem to read here. But I'm thinking I'm going to give you something more recent vintage. And it was just what I observed sitting at my house. In winter, southerlies bedevil our inside world, tearing everything untethered into the air, strewing them along the blue-gray walls of our shotgun shack. Hazel sees the spirits of previous inhabitants, but no longer barks at them. She sighs deeply, flicking her ears at the reordering gusts, then goes back to biting her nails. Through the pineapple cutout in the creaky screen door, I see less and less of yesterday's yard work, cultivating a live and let live approach to nature. The wind blows high over the Atlantic, pregnant with Saharan dust that shimmers in the air and makes the descending sun shine white. I wish to lie in the grass and see where the wind might take me, or what it may throw in my face. So, thank you to the Porch Poets, and as our esteemed vocalist here just mentioned, we do have a chapbook, which means it's a short little book that we put together of some of our favorite pieces of poetry. It is for sale in the back there, and right there, yes, my lovely assistant. So we do hope you'll check that out, because there's lots of great things to grab here, and we would love it if you would check it out. And you want to take a picture? Yeah. Okay. Excuse us real quick for a picture. Okay, so I actually had skipped over a portion, and that is we have a couple of local poets here, local cowboy poets. And Mr. Sean Sexton, who is our resident poet, he is the poet laureate. He is going to introduce them to you, and I believe these are the gentlemen that we heard last night. Is that right, Sean? Okay, you're in for a treat, so enjoy.
Oh my God, look how many of you there are. Is Will Barker present? There he is. Will, would you come up, and Charlie, why don't you come up, and you fellas get close. I don't mean to each other, I just mean close to here. Will's he's the leadoff hitter. Will and I have worked cows all of my life and most of his. Come on up, Will. I asked him if he would do a poem.
I appreciate this, and it's always better to start down here, and it always gets better going up. Talking about working cows, I wrote a little one a few years ago, and this gentleman and his son who was out there a while ago, I've known them both since they were about that small, and I loved their daddy and granddaddy, but this is something that whatever I do, I kind of like to write about it. It's called A Day Working Cattle. A day working cattle is a whole lot better battle than any other job day to day. With your horse and your dogs and riding through bogs, and who knows what else on the way. You'll gather in pen, who knows who will win. Is that old cow bluffing or not? They'll hook and they'll snort. It's quite an extreme sport, but a job that has to be done. You'll part 'em and worm 'em and doctor and mark. You might castrate and cut off a horn. You know you can count on the men who work with you. It's a friendship like none that you'll find. The laughing, the jokes, the good-natured pokes, it's part of my life that's all mine.
And this is Charlie Semler. And Charlie doesn't know how to do anything small. Everything he does is big. Just like him.
Well, thank you, Sean. I'm not probably much of a poet as a storyteller. And growing up here in my family's history in this area since the late 1800s, you got to do a lot of things. You got to know other families. We were farmers, we were fishermen, but you got to know a lot of ranchers and a lot of cowmen. We call them cowmen in Florida. They're not as much cowboys as they are cowmen. But doing that, I had the opportunity to write little notes on little pieces of paper thousands of times that I would tuck in a box here or shove in a glove box there. And not until I got a little bit older and a little bit more worn out where I can't do it anymore, I started putting those pieces together. And mine is called Day Working. This is a life and a day of what you would see in a Florida cowman. Before I do that, we got some cowmen here. These folks are the real life things. Y'all raise your hands. I know we got cowmen out here. Roy, Willie, I see y'all. We got cow ladies. They don't want to do it. They're shy. There's a cowman right there. These are the real things, folks. These are the real things. But the title of this is called Day Working. Why do they do it? Only they truly know. This work will take its toll. Worn out bodies will eventually show. Well before sunrise, before morning light sneaks in, the day worker starts saddling so the ride can begin. Cur dogs stretch and scratch amongst horses and men. Cowboys ask them with certainty, "Are you ready to get it again?" Sounds rumble the trailer as loading hooves hit the floor. Squeaks of hinges and pins, metal gates lock the back door. A gooseneck pulls down the road, hooked to a cow truck with many a dent. Fresh energy of early mornings, all knowing at day's end, it's all spent. May make a quick store stop, a milk bread, sweet bread, or a chip. Most times for the knot, a chew, a cigar, or dip for the lip. Tires hop up and down washboards. Country dirt roads have a lot. Rattling of all kinds of ranching tools jump from their truck dash piled spot. They pull into the pasture, geared down, driving slow. Stock trailers roll to a stop. Back door opens and empties, let's go. Side by side riding, faces smile with a glow. The getting about to happen is the sun's a-trying to show. Time-weathered creased hands, tethered reins lay in. Stirrups carry leather-worn boots, with fitted spurs will rouse spin. Ball caps or molded straw, a few hats are felt made. Sun eats at bare skin, what's not covered for shade. A slicker draped over the back, tied down, rolled up yellow. If a thunder squall rolls overhead, it sheds rain off a saddled fellow. The woods begin to waken, colors come into life. Lope up into the action, focus cuts like a knife. Ease to the left, push to gather on the right. Get 'em drove to the fence so they'll bunch up kind of tight. Bull holds up in a thick, a whip pops him with a sting. Dogs rally and work 'em all, out the myrtles they'll all bring. Rope thrown with a loop, catched ahead and comes tight. Dallies off on the horn, big horse drags him with might. They push and they pull, get slapped by a limb, sweat rolls off their brow, creative cussing from them. Sorting and counting, parting gate swings with a turn. Some fight and want to catch you, give them a hot shot that'll burn. Gathered and drove, worked all through the pen, twisted, sprained, and some broke, muscled bone and bruised skin. Lunch always with light bread, something hot, brown, and tan. Sometimes just some crackers or meat in a pull-top tin can. Through all kinds of weather, under skies that are blue, this land holds scarce air, freedom breaths that are true. Turn cows back to pasture, covered in dirt head to toe. Load back up in the trailers, most bodies are moving kind of slow. A day's pay is real modest for a rider, horse, and dogs. Can always make a little extra, gigging a half sack of frogs. These threads weave a bond from this kind of man, given word is case steel strong and solid shake of a hand. Leery of strangers and outsiders alike. Fast-talking city folks they mostly dislike. Together riding with a herd or riding fence all alone, a cow hunter's life has mystique. Will it last the great unknown? Cowboys sit a horse, simple possessions can't hide, yet the riches of their life, others will never understand such pride. They working with heart, gave it all they could give, prayers asked to make it quick, with no more ride they could live. Thank you.
So I want to thank, it's a perfect moment, I want to thank the Indian River Cattlemen's Association. They sponsored a full-blown party last night for all of our sponsors and our worker bees and the people who have contributed to pulling this event off. And it was a great time. They gave us enough money to buy whiskey. And I want to thank Joanne Mitchell, who has been generous to this event year in and year out. Joanne, would you stand up? I'm going to read a poem to you. And Jim, you've been a perennial sweetheart. It's called Semen Testing the Herd Bulls. Are you ready? Get an early start. Each driven from seclusion, congenial as flood-staged rivers, they set in motion on lumbering trajectories to the gate. We push them in trios and quartets, bellowing down the lane, a rider betwixt, to stage them strategically in the pens. Once arrived, the usual upstart gets thrown through a fence. And they fill the hopper one by one, brought up the runway a bull at a time for the test, as others wait like the elderly on their scripts at the chemist. Some barely fit the squeeze, pulled behind, palpated before insertion of the probe. Then 3 moments, 3 rocking pulses, a crystalline slide of half-lives in the lens. I see a whole semi-load of calves is the shout. Boss says worm him and turn him out. So I want to do one more thing. I want all of the board members of the Laura Riding Jackson Foundation to hold up their hands and have the best board, and our rule is we don't do anything if we can't have fun. And if we're not having fun, I guarantee you won't have fun. That's why that's a good rule. I want to also recognize some behind-the-scenes people. Is Jody Harley in the... Jody, I want you to stand up. And Susan Jaramillo, where are you? There she is. Every time I picked up the phone and said, Susan, this person is coming, put them on the list, and that sort of thing. And all the time, throughout the whole process, Jody has fretted on all of our behalf. She's a world-class fretter, but she does something with her fretting. She gets stuff done, and they've been wonderful. And I hope that you all will visit that silent auction. There's great stuff there, and you won't be disappointed when you go walk through and look at all the things offered. There are meals from wonderful restaurants. The Driftwood Inn Resort has a night's stay and 2 dinners and 2 lunches, and from Waldo's and things like that. So Marsh Landing Restaurant has, and other things. The Bacchus Gallery has given us a framed giclée print of a beautiful Beanie Bacchus painting. So anyway, when you have a free moment, I want you to go and look at those things. And I think we ought to, let's see. How many do we have? Okay. Okay, let's do it, and then we're going to start our program. Okay.
Okay, so just quickly, our Tuesday writers group is going to come on up here and share a piece of their poetry with you, and then we will transition into the main event. So.
Good afternoon. I'm Jackie Jacobs, and I'm privileged to be on the board of the Laura Riding Jackson Foundation. And as Sean so perfectly put it, we love to have fun, and we share the work. And those of you who have served in groups know what a challenge it is when only a few people do what needs to be done. But this group does it all. I'm also the one responsible for the actual move of this house. I'm a little crazy right now, or maybe crazier than normal. We have people doing fundraising and public relations and get this done and get that done, but I get to meet with the mover and the architect and the surveyors and all of those wonderful people. And please be on the lookout for our actual move date. We're anticipating the 3rd week in May. We still need your help. This move is $333,000. So anything you can do is helpful, and it will get us closer to the resources we need to make this move a success for this community and for the house that we all love. So you can imagine I'm thinking a lot about the house these days. So my poem is called The Treasures of Laura's Home, Peace, Quiet, Reflection. Painted white clapboard sheathes the aging wood timbers that hold tight its memories some 100 years now. This Florida cracker house sitting proudly upon sandy soil that has blown beneath it year after year. This meandering structure provided shelter from the hot, humid dog days of an Indian River summer, and even some measure of safety from the many majestic hurricanes that found their way ashore in fall season. For 50 years, this house was home for 2 who, in their own words, wanted only to be left alone to be, in the safety of this harbor of wood amongst the fruit trees. Stand in the quiet of this unadorned home. Listen for the tales to be told here. The wind through the cracks whispers of peaceful nights in this refuge from long days of toil. Imagine beyond the faint pounding of the ocean on the nearby shore, the fertile, rich mind of a woman who had to write, to spill words upon pages, just as the sea has to spread foam upon the sand. Here in this special place floats the spirit of one of the greatest treasures left upon this coast. Thousands of words put to paper, recorded for posterity through typewriter and pen. Stay quiet now. Let this home tell you its tales, stories etched in the crevices of the vertical boards that continue to protect and provide shelter for the memories proffered by Laura Riding Jackson, poet.
Good afternoon. My name is Jean Sealander Miller, and my poem is entitled The Fall from Grace. I'm in a writing group in upstate New York, and the prompt was going home in the dark. So, I feel the walls for the light switch, but the house is old, and it is not within my reach. I take a breath and stand in the darkness. Still and silent, I wait for my eyes to adjust. The moonlight trickles in through the half-drawn blinds. I breathe and wait as forms hidden in shadow take shape. The clouds move, a white marble bust, a woman revealed in moonlight. What is sculpted upon her head? In the low light, my fingers read the sculpture as the blind reads Braille. I need to know what is hidden in the darkness. Does she wear a crown or a headdress of chiseled feathers? I move my fingers gently over her face, lovely and smooth, beneath her fingertips. But what is this? Her chin, imperfect, flawed, and broken. But aren't we all? Somewhere in her past, she fell from her pedestal, a dangerous place for any woman. Yet she took it on the chin and endures. She is every woman, upright and proud, fair and flawed, stoically accepting life with grace and grandeur.
Hi, my name is Nina Dockery, and I don't consider myself a poet. However, during the 70s, I had a lot of experiences with color. And this poem is really, and was really, what I would call an emotional vomiting, okay? It occurred basically after a very uncomfortable evening at the University of Massachusetts, where I was a doctoral candidate, okay? It was written on March 13th, 1978. It's called Colors, a drama, one of many. Color masquerades as reality, boldly costuming the players, consuming the star. The eyes, dark and soft, continually address and reflect to all but one. She is omitted. The charade is one of shame. The omitted, a woman of time, conspicuously painted wrong. No wonder she's not even seen. She's present, part of the drama. Conversations ignore her, glances avoid her. Touches do not exist, none for her. But it's not her, it's a color. Blue cool, red hot, green calm, black right, white. White, the presence of all color. A prism sparkles, reflects what is present. And now, a charade. The star, his costume restricts him. His arms are paralyzed at his sides. His eyes have lost their mobility. His speeches are forgotten. Paint him black. The supporting cast is his audience, players, pawns, to move and direct as he sees fit. Over the stage, the drama unfolds, beginning, peaking, and finally ending. She survived again, the star too, thank God. The star and she graciously bow and take leave. Another performance has ended. And now, again they are alone, where the color ego no longer rules. Speech returns and touch reappears. Costumes become meaningless. Off stage, he can love her. Both their hearts are red.
Hi, I'm Karen Ambram, and I was always a cowgirl. My poem is called A Cowgirl's Dream, Night Dancing. To idly roam the silent night, I had no thought. Perchance I left my camp. In a dark and balmy world, I found myself not alone. A million sparkling stars above spoke without a word. Warm kisses blown from heaven thrilled me with their touch. I spun about in my delight, met a mighty oak. He whispered, twisted, swayed, an invitation to dance. I wrapped my arms about his waist, my hand entwined his boughs. A symphony of creatures, night's sweet music brought us ever close. We danced 1,000 minuets, we glided higher, higher. The night clouds frosted by the moon twirled and swirled in time. We laughed, we sang, we touched the stars. Our hearts were filled with joy. Then gently, slowly, we descended, circled to the earth. I caught my breath, I hugged the oak, I made a solemn promise. On the next dark and balmy silent night, to share with you night dancing.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We're all very appreciative of your time, and we're looking forward to the main event, which is coming soon. I was thinking about this and the cowboys and the lifestyle and the culture that breeds. And you know what? Not that long ago, much of Florida was also a frontier town, as we know, populated by settlers, ranchers, surveyors, homesteaders, people from somewhere else, all looking to stake their claim in this environment, in this sunshine state. The piece I'm going to share with you is called Hand Over at Wildwood, a song for surveyors. Where are you? The map would begin here at Buddy's Barbecue, home of the smoking pig, or maybe inside the thumb-pinched crust of pecan pie and the rolled dough, or the day they rolled the dough somewhere in a small bungalow south of Ocala, the day that needed more shade, the cloudy bright day languishing with disinterest and sore neglect. Not a place for the silk and linen crowd, the cash cows, unsuitable for those divining water, seabirds, water. Buddy's has closed, blanked the side door to the service kitchen, the loading dock, awaiting the next joint venture to stack rough hammered crates, ship produce and trade, leftover pecan pie, congealed on a Dixie plate, wrapped in foil, hand-smoothed foil loosened by the play of inattentive hands opening and closing the folds too often. I don't know, Samuel answered. Somewhere in the grumbling underbrush bounding the perimeter, Mack trucks ascend the on-ramp back into the hazy fall afternoon. Cooling autumn's fire pit is proof how even wet wood can spark, breed warmth for unseen small creatures in the bush, safe from large mammals with hunger pangs marking domain. Still, male scent scores the crossroads, intersecting surveyor's tool and latent appetite for tillable acreage. 2 oak leaves in the twin sun. Known earth ends here. Can't harvest the salt, the stone pot south, or laurel leaves splattered by unseasonable rain. Cloudy bright. This was the forecast they'd recall in the slanted sun shadow that flamed dull leaves to stencils trapped in gutters of mixed mud, oil spinoff. Webster's cattle prices are off this year. Something about lean feed and a dry summer gone flat, except in the wild woods. It was just a slice of pie. Seemed like a fair trade, but somehow sold short. The pecans lost its snap, and the stale crust offends his taste buds. Salt too bitter, crumb trails dogging, telephone lines strung ever southward. Homage to one Isaac Barwick, his fledgling company first on the map. Indicia of surveyors, but no answer why the lynx-tailed cotton grown by white men in Georgia sold for a better price in Silver Springs. Thank you very much. And now for the main event.
Tell me, baby, now why, because you know